Think about someone you love. Now imagine they get arrested for a crime they didn't commit. The evidence looks bad, the lawyer looks overworked, and the jury convicts. A judge sentences them to death. You know they're innocent, but the system has spoken. That is not a hypothetical. That is Anthony Ray Hinton, convicted in Alabama in 1985 on a flawed evidence. He spent 30 years on death row, watching 54 of his fellow inmates be executed, before the Supreme Court unanimously overturned his conviction in 2015. He walked out at 58 years old, and he said he'd forgiven them because he had to, just to survive. Now, how do you forgive a system that almost killed you for something you didn't do? My name is Anthony, and I believe in fairness in our legal system. It affects every one of us, and the evidence is clear. The death penalty is broken, irreversible, and it's a system that should be abolished and replaced with life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. So how is it broken, really? Let the numbers answer that. According to the Innocence Project, a nationally recognized criminal justice organization founded at Cardozo School of Law in 1992, whose data comes from verified court records and official exoneration filings. Over 190 people have been exonerated from death row after wrongful convictions. 190 innocent people. And unlike a prison sentence, an execution cannot be undone. And this is costing you. According to the Death Penalty Information Center, operating since 1992, citing state government audits and independent academic studies, death penalty cases costed 2 to 3 times more than life imprisonment due to longer trials, mandatory appeals, and separate housing. We are spending more money to run a system that kills innocent people. Now I want you to be honest about the other side, because it deserves a real response, Supporters argue that the death penalty deters crime and brings closure to victims' families. That grief is real, and I take it seriously. But according to Amnesty International's 2023 Annual Death Penalty Report, a Nobel Peace Prize winning human rights organization founded in 1961, monitoring courts and government records across 150 countries. There is no consistent evidence that death penalty reduces violent crimes more than the life imprisonment. And many victims' families have said publicly they did not want an execution. They wanted to heal, and years of appeals denied them from that. The solution is already available: life without parole. The person never gets out, society stays protected, and we never risk executing someone who turns out to be innocent. Let me show you what we're choosing and what the solution actually looks like. In one version, we keep the death penalty, knowing it makes irreversible mistakes, costs more, and doesn't deter crime. In the other, we replace it with life without parole. We stop the mistakes, we save money, we give victims' families a path to healing instead of decades in courtrooms. Anthony Ray Hinton was one of the lucky ones. How many others weren't? We will never know their names because they're gone. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Look at your state representative. Find out where they stand. Support legislation that abolishes the death penalty. Sign petitions through the Innocence Project or Amnesty International. Vote for candidates who take this seriously. We covered 3 things today that cannot be ignored. Over 190 innocent people condemned by an irreversible system. Costs that are 2 to 3 times higher than the alternative, and 0 evidence it deters crime. The death penalty is not justice, it is time to end it. Anthony Ray Hinton forgave the system that almost killed him. The least we can do is make sure that it never happens to anyone else. I'm Anthony, and I thank you for listening to this.